Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Hanging in. Um, so this season's had a lot of changes. And one of the things that we didn't necessarily see a lot of when it happened was the shakeup with the team. What was Reyes's reaction to that? Do you have any
The
thoughts on that?
which shake up? I'm sorry.
With Jet leaving and all of that
Oh,
good stuff.
yeah. I mean, I think, Jet was um a relationship that I think really sort of helped him to deal with the loss of Wheelan, um, to deal with a lot of the trauma and turmoil that he's felt inside for a very long time. She was sort of a safety net for him. And I think that with her leaving, there's really nothing there for him to latch on to. Obviously, work is there. Um, and I definitely feel as though Reyes is now, you know, forcing himself to sort of dive in deeper in the work. And I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I do know what he's doing. He's working hard at home to just try to push things down. And I think that's something that Reyes has always done is push away his emotions, which isn't really healthy, but also allows him to be a really good cop in a way, which is fascinating to me because he just elevates himself so well on the team, regardless of what he's feeling. So yeah, he's not dealing with it too great though. I mean, losing Jet was tough.
And I think that kind of transitions into you talking about him throwing himself more into the work. You were originally brought on as the undercover guy. We took a little bit away from that, but he went back to it this season. He's went under with Los Santos. He's now coming up this episode tomorrow. He's not undercover, but he's kind of on loan dealing with a very kind of bad set of circumstances. How do you when you're approaching these storylines, like going under with Los Santos and then this other one that's coming up, um, how do you approach it from a standpoint of avoiding kind of these Latino stereotypes, or at least approaching that as authentically as possible?
Um, you know, I am very aware of like, television and sometimes how they view Latino stereotypes and characters and things. I can only control what I bring to the table for characters and I'm and in my perspective, like, going undercover for Los Santos, a Dominican gang. I'm half Dominican. I know Dominicans, you know, um, I have access to information and people and just ideas that I know can make it as authentic as possible. Um, so for me, um, this is always about just being as real as possible, being truthful in my depiction and portrayal of, you know, a detective going undercover as a Dominican soldier for a ruthless, Dominican gang that, is on the streets, causing mayhem. And, you know, um, it all comes down to like the energy and the tone and the inflection and then and the speech you know um and I think I'm able to I'm half Dominican. I get it. I understand it. So it just, I'm blessed that I'm able to understand certain things and be able to, if I weren't, I hope that I would do the work to learn and then bridge the gap. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that it is important for me and I take these moments and seriously, in terms of like bringing that to life, even when I play characters that are not close to me, it's like I try to do the very best I can to like be as honest about it as possible because I am the character's undercover, and if he can't convince them, then he's dead. So, yeah, it's kind of how I look at it.
Were you surprised at all that of all the people that have gone undercover on this series, at the beginning of this season, it was you that was recognized out in the field? Like, oh, I met that guy before, and not Stabler, who's under like what every other minute.
Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think a lot of people watched that and said, "Wait, what?"
Right, like, wait, no.
Yeah, right. Um, so kind of speaking of Stabler, you have a very strong reaction and kind of opposition to kind of what he does with this old partner of his. Again, when you're in a situation where you're interviewing somebody who's tied to an organization, they're automatically kind of seeing her at face value for her associations. You're like, hey, hold on, I'm not getting that vibe from her. Just seeing that side of him affect that working partnership going forward at all? Does it color his opinion of the guy he thought he knew?
That's a good question. I mean, I think Reyes is smart enough to take, not to completely judge, because I think as cops, you make connections with different types of people from all walks of life and different choices, and you cannot control the entire, the decisions that certain friends make. Um, However, yeah, I mean, I think it definitely crosses Reyes's mind, like, that's your friend, like you can't help but think it, and I think Reyes is sort of taking information. I think he's a very perceptive human being, obviously, and I think he's sort of saying there's definitely something wrong with this guy and everything that he stands for and how he goes about his work. And what does that mean that you make friends with someone like that, And I think what Reyes has gone through in his life in terms of understanding police work and cops and crooked cops and good cops and and complicated cops. I think he's seen it all, And I think sometimes when you just don't like someone immediately because you don't like how they do things, it's immediate. And and I think that's, definitely true for Reyes, as there's something about McKenna that he doesn't like at all. And this won't be the last time we see Reyes, confront McKenna.
That so what can you tease going forward for the last chunk of this season then after this first episode with
I
McKenna?
can't tease much, but I can say that they they connect again.
Good. It's an interesting thing to try to parse out. And how does his work with Stabler going forward? Do they keep that partnership
I'm
kind of
not
like normal, or does that
I don't
butt
I
heads?
can't I actually I don't remember, but we shot it like last year, I want to say. But was it last year or early January? I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, I think, the idea is that we won't see the last of McKenna. And I think there's more there for that character, which is interesting. So, yeah, and I mean, I think, what does that mean for, you know, the relationship with Stabler, and obviously they're old friends, and obviously Stabler, um, what does that mean to Stabler? Does he respect how his friend, does business and runs himself as a cop? Like, what does that mean, like, for Stabler? So we have to see that.
Yeah, I think one quick more than because I can't leave her out. How do things with Reyes and Bell go going forward after this, or with
I mean, I
anything
think,
else big coming up?
yeah, I mean, I think, Reyes and Bell are team members, and he respects his captain, and yeah, they definitely get along well.
It's been a good one to watch play out. I think that is about all. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing the last of it. I've been
Uh,
enjoying myself as usual, so it's always
Thank you
good.
so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.